These are your notes from section 4.1, writing linear equations in slope-intercept form. You're going to have to pause it as need be because I'm just going to read through some instructions and titles like this, and you need to take the time to write it down. Slope-intercept form we've already visited, y equals mx plus b. We know how to find m, we know how to find b, we know how to graph it. Reverse the order. Now, if given m and given b, can you make the equation? If given a graph, can you write the equation? Here's an example. Write an equation of the line with slope of -2 and a y-intercept of 5. Here's where you'll pause it. Make sure you get the instructions written down. And when you are done, then resume play. We need y equals mx plus b. We know that -2 is our m. And we know that y-intercept is our base, our 5. So final answer, y equals -2x plus 5. No more work than that. Easy as that. Next example, same instructions, so you don't have to rewrite how it says write an equation of the line with. Maybe you just want to write the highlighted in your notes. Now we have a slope of 8 and a y-intercept of -7. So this is our m. This is our base of our intercept. Y equals 8x. And now instead of putting plus a -7, we will just do subtract 7. If at any time you leave an equation unsimplified, meaning it has two operations in a row, you will be deducted points for that. That is not a simplified equation. You never see it in the book or tests or quizzes. You can't put both in there. Final answer, y equals 8x minus 7. This one, another simplification issue. Write an equation of the line with slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 9. Y equals mx plus b, the 9. But again, we never put 1s in front of variables. All variables have a 1 in front of them. We don't have to state that it's there. So your final answer will be y equals x plus 9. Anybody who's familiar with slope-intercept form, rise over run, they know that there's a 1 there in front of the x. And the last one of these, write an equation of the line with slope of 3/4 and a y-intercept of 0. You would get y equals 3/4 x plus 0. Another unsimplified version of that. Don't leave it plus 0. It's just y equals 3/4 x. Be sure to leave the x in the problem because then you know that 3/4 is slope and not y-intercept. Okay, so there is one more of these. Write an equation of the line with the slope of 0, y equals 0x, and a y-intercept of 3. Unsimplified version, 0 times x is 0. Final answer, y equals 3. Next, what do we do if we write an equation of the line from this graph? This time it's going to be a graph. Pause it so you can take time to put your graph in your notes so that you have something to look back at. Here's your graph. You still need m and b out of this. M is your slope, rise over run. Rise, but we're going down to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your slope is down 2 over 5, -2. Your b is a y-intercept. Y-intercept is on the y-axis. And where is this point on the y-axis? Right there, at 3. You can either count 3 or see it as 3. 1, 2, 3. B equals 3. Put it all together, because it does say write an equation of the line. You get y equals -2/5 x plus 3. Another graph. Maybe. Here's the graph. Write an equation of the line. pause it, take the time to draw this graph. We're going to find slope. And this time they didn't draw it for you with the red arrows, but you can count it yourself from this point to this point. It's going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Run 1, 2, 3. Rise over run is 4/3. If you can reduce it, but we can't. The base, again, is your y-intercept. Here's y. There's your base, which is down 5, -5. Y equals 4/3 x minus 5. Final answer. After that, we have to write an equation given 2 points if one of the points crosses the y-axis. 1 point crosses the y-axis. Take the time to write this down, write the 2 points. You know by looking at it which one crosses the y-axis. We've done intercepts before. If your x is 0, that means it didn't go left, it didn't go right. All it did was go down 3. There's your y-axis. That point crosses the y-axis, that's automatically the y-intercept. The problem here is that we can't find slope. We don't have a graph. We can't count rise over run. They didn't give us slope. We have to find it ourselves. This is review. We've already done this. Here's your formula. Please rewrite this in your notes so you have it handy for daily quizzes and looking back at doing your homework. We need to take the second y and minus our first y, which is -1 minus -3. Then we need to take our second x and minus our first x, which is 3 minus 0. 2 negatives, make that plus or use your calculator. -1 plus 3 is 2, and 3 minus 0 is 3. Now you have your b, which is -3. You have your m, and you write the final answer as y equals 2/3 x minus 3, because your base is -3. Slope goes here, base goes here. So now, basically all we're doing is taking stuff that we've already learned and putting it together into one equation. We already know about intercepts, that that's a y-intercept because this is 0, -3. We already know what a base is related to a y-intercept. We already know the slope formula, and we've practiced doing slope. Now we just have to put the intercept, the slope, and the equation all together. It's what math continues to do to you. It builds on what you've already learned, what you already know. Here's another one. Pause it, write it down, 0, 5, and 4, 17. We know our base right away is the one with the 0 in front of it, so our base is 5. Our slope, we're going to take y2, 17, minus y1, 5, over x2, 4, minus 0. 17 minus 5 is 12. 4 minus 0 is 4. And if we reduce this, we get 3 for our slope. Which means our final answer is y equals 3x plus 5. Y equals mx plus b. And you can check your answer. See if you did it right. You know me, I always force you to check your answers or ask you to. All you have to do is put this other x in its spot. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 5 is 17. If that point works in this equation, then you can check your answer and know that you did it right. It helps you find little mistakes, losing some negatives. Couple more of these. This time your base is over here. You still have to find the 0. Since x is 0, base is -2. We're going to do our slope, y2, -2, minus 4, which is our y1, over x2, 0, minus x1, 8. -2 minus 4 is -6. 0 minus 8 is -8. Careful. 2 negatives. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. They are both even numbers, which means you can divide them by 2. You're going to get 3/4 for your slope. Final answer, make sure you always finish and put it back into an equation. We're not just looking for m and b. We want y equals 3/4 x minus 2. Put your m where that belongs. Put your b where that belongs. Last one. Finish up. Write it down. Pause the camera. Try this on your own. Find b, find m, plug them back in, write the whole equation, and when you're done, then turn the camera back on, or hit play on your video and see if you got it right. So pause it now. That should be your final answer. You can check it by checking with me. You can also check it by plugging x in right here on a calculator. -2/3 times -3 is 2, and 2 plus 4 is 6. So you can check your answer every time. When you're done with this, then you get to start the assignment. Show proof that your notes are done.